Apple Watch is finally coming. Do you have 10 grand to lend me? Hi, I'm Aaron Jones, and welcome to another one of my vlogs coming to you from Nihama in Japan. And today I wanted to talk about the Spring Forward event held by Apple on March 9th. Well, in Japan time, it was at 2 a.m. on the March 10th. So very early in the morning, I did get up. I laid in my bed with my alarm, and on my iPad, I watched it, trying not to fall back asleep. And so today on this vlog, I wanted to talk about some of my thoughts on some of the things in the event. I won't talk about everything in the event. There are a lot of other videos that go through it in detail. I just wanted to talk about things that I think were cool or not cool, and for my own use case. So let's go. The first thing I wanted to talk about was the Apple TV, and that's the first thing that Tim Cook talked about on the event. And the big announcement was, one, they lowered the price of the Apple TV from $99 US to $69 US. That's a good thing. Maybe I have a second generation. Maybe in the future I'll pick up the third generation because the second generation can no longer be updated. And I still have that old YouTube application on there, and I know the newer versions have the updated YouTube application, and that might be more useful. But anyways, I'll wait a little bit longer before updating. But the big news was that HBO Now is coming to Apple TV and other Apple products to watch HBO programming, past and future. However, I live in Japan, and I don't think this is going to come here anytime soon. So this announcement is cool news, and I would really love to have HBO here in Japan on the Apple TV or my Apple products, Game of Thrones. However, I don't think it's coming anytime soon. So that was cool, but it has nothing to do with me. Crazy cat. The next cool thing was that they introduced was something called Research Kit, where they can use applications on the iPhone to do medical research, and they showed off some one for Alzheimer's, which I did download and try to use. However, I am not available to participate in this study because I'm in Japan. At the beginning, when you download the application, it asks you questions, and I think this is probably US based, which makes sense because they're trying to sample from a certain area or something. So I would like to have participated in it, but at the moment in Japan, that one doesn't work, and the other ones don't really pertain to me. I wanted to try that Parkinson's one, but I think that's a cool news because now medical institutions research, people can get sample data through the iPhone and increase their research on a much faster pace. And they also made this open source, so we'll see how this goes in the future. Now, this is probably something that won't come back in the news for us so much often in everyday life, but I think it's interesting to see how this will look, how the data from this a few years from now relates, and I think it's a very neat, interesting idea. And then the next thing that I want to talk about is the thing that made the biggest kind of news other than the Apple Watch, and that was the new MacBook that they introduced. Is not a new MacBook Air with a Retina screen, but a brand new MacBook. They brought back the MacBook brand, so now they have the MacBook Air, the MacBook, and the MacBook Pro. And before, the MacBook was the plastic one, which was stopped a few years ago, and now they brought it back with this small, thinner. Now, there's a lot of people on the internet who didn't like it, and because of it only has one port. It has the USB-C port, the new one, which is rumored, I heard by reading from the John Gruber's site, that maybe Apple invented this one, and it's now going to be a standard. And the new Google Chromebook that they put out 2 days later also uses this technology, the USB-C, which is very nice because it can go in, doesn't matter up or down, and using the Lightning one for iPhone and iPad, it's very useful. You don't have to think about it because, USB is just a pain. And however, I can see a use case for this for myself. I don't usually plug in a lot of other external devices except for my portable hard drive, which I use for time backup of my computer about once a week. And so for me that would work. However, the computer using it has, Intel Core M chip, which is a little bit mobile chip, not quite my use case. I'm interested in the MacBook Pro 13-inch, and they did update that as well with the new, what they're calling the Force Touch trackpad, which was introduced with this new MacBook, but they also put it in the Retina 13-inch MacBook Pro, and I think that would be really cool. Now, this technology is kind of interesting. You doesn't actually push down, but it has this haptic feedback engine thing, so when you push down it, you can feel it. I'd like to try this out and see how it actually feels in real life. Watching other videos of people who attended the event who tried it out said it's kind of interesting. They also had to re-engineer the keyboard. You may have heard this. Instead of using the old scissor mechanism, they made a butterfly mechanism to make the keys thinner so that the thickness of the new MacBook. And it looks cool, and they added colors back again. They have the gold, the same as the iPads and the iPhones. They have the space gray and silver and gold. And then it brought up to the big thing that everybody was waiting for. They teased it many times during the event, and that, of course, was the Apple Watch. And the Apple Watch is what we learned is what most people thought is very expensive. I think even for the cheapest version, the Sport edition is the cheapest one, starting at about $349 US. And then you have the regular Apple Watch made of stainless steel. That's over $500. And then you have the edition, which is 10 grand and up to almost 20 grand, depending on what watch strap you get. And that's the Apple Watch. They showed off some applications and stuff. There wasn't a lot of new information. Nothing that they didn't really talk about before. They just showed some new applications and more details of how it worked and when it's going to be available. You can pre-order it on April 10th or go into an Apple store and check it out. And on April 24th, I believe, is when they will be on sale. Now, will I get an Apple Watch? Probably not. Because even though it's cool, I would like to have one. $350 for the cheapest version is a lot of money for a watch that I can think of some use cases that I would use it, but not enough to pay $350. I'd rather save that money and get a new MacBook Pro Retina display. Use the $350 as a part of the money for that rather than a watch. But maybe in the second generation. Now, we don't know how often they're going to update this. Are they going to update it once a year like the iPhone or iPads, or are they going to do it every 2 years? Because it is very expensive, and it's not something you're going to update every year. You're not going to go out and buy a new $250 watch every year. Most people won't. Even the $10,000 watch. People who are in the market to buy that probably have a lot of money to spend, and most people who are not they can't pay $10,000 are not going to buy that watch, and the people who buy a $10,000 watch have probably lots of money, and spending $10,000 on a watch is like nothing. So we'll see how that goes. But this time I will wait on the Apple Watch. I was curious about it, but maybe if I try one on, it will change my mind. And that's my thoughts on the Apple Watch. One thing I was disappointed that didn't happen, I was hoping they did download the new iOS soon after the event, 8.2. I was hoping the new update to the Mac Yosemite would come out with the new Photos app. However, there was no mention of that at the event. So I was hoping, that's one of the things I've been waiting for, is this new Photos app, and I thought they would talk about it at this event, and it would be released today, the same day, but no mention of that. So hopefully that comes out soon, because I've been waiting for that Photos app because I want to get rid of iPhoto and transfer everything over there so things work okay. Anyways, I rambled enough about this Apple event. What are your thoughts on the Apple event? Would you get an Apple Watch? What do you think about the new MacBook? And I think I can think of uses of it without having a lot of attachments. It would work for me, except the chip isn't as powerful. I like to do a lot of video editing and stuff like that, and so the MacBook Pro is more my style. However, if it had only one port, I wouldn't have any problem. All my external hard drives, except for the one backup one, I have everything on wireless network, and so I don't often use USB sticks and stuff like that. I would probably get an adapter for it just to have, but on everyday use, I don't often plug things in and out of my computer. Anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about today. So go ahead and comment. Let me know what you thought about the event. Go ahead and subscribe if you're new to keep up to date on my vlogs and my other content like Inspire Magic and cool news and stuff that I bought. Anyways, until next time, see you then. Goodbye.